It was an amazing day, biking along the giant white cliffs of the southern English coastline. I even ran into this guy. It's a mystical wishing stone, but more on him later in the video. But as for me, I was on a mission. Just me and my sturdy old rented blue bike. We biked for miles along the beautiful fog and mist-lined beaches, past beautiful fishing boats, and the unbelievable white chalky cliffs went on forever. Along the way, we got to stop in small towns like Peacehaven and Saltine, really cute. But it wasn't until we got to Rottingdean I found the treasure. A crispy, perfect fish and chips with a pint of local ale, right smack in the middle of a small, intimate pub. You couldn't have wanted anything more from this delicate yet hearty dish. It's really all about the crispy coating. So I did my studies, and today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to learn to fry the perfect fish. Let's get to it. I had such a great time in the south of England. I really did. And it was a great experience. That bike ride was just amazing with the white cliffs on both sides of you. And you kind of feel like it's never going to end, almost like you're not even in a real place. You're almost like in a movie set. And then you come into these small little towns, and one of the most amazing things is the fish and chips. And of course, even the Brits don't eat fish and chips every day. It's more of a special treat for them, as it would be for us. After all, it's a pretty heavy and it's a fried food, but it is enjoyable when it's done right. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about frying the fish perfectly. I'm going to give you all kinds of tips because it's really not difficult at all. If you don't know me, I'm Mark Palladini. This is On Your Mark, bringing you the best of travel and food and love and places around the world, bringing the great tastes from all around the world back to my kitchen, and exploring and having fun with you right here. So please subscribe to my channel, subscribe, like, and we can keep bringing the adventures. So I had the most intensely beautiful fried fish in two different places. One in Northern Ireland in Belfast, which I have to say was probably my favorite. But the one I had in Rottingdean, there in the south of England, was pretty special. And so I did a lot of research just to find out exactly what would you do in your kitchen that can make a perfectly beautiful, crispy, airy, delicious fried fish. And that's what we're going to learn today. So, couple steps. I'm going to go ahead and print them on the screen too. Choosing the right fish. This is really important. Salmon and tilapia, these are pretty oily fishes. Even trout can be a little oily. So these are not fishes that adhere well to the batter. And so these are the wrong fishes to choose. Cod is probably the most prime example of fish that won't let the batter slip and also cooks evenly with the batter and the fish. If you choose a fish that's too thick, it's not going to probably cook. The batter will cook before the fish, or vice versa. So either one is bad. So again, when you bite into your fish, you want equal parts batter and fish. Not quite equal, but you want a little lighter on the batter, crispy shell. Think of it more like a shell than a batter. It shouldn't be thick. It shouldn't be doughy. It shouldn't be liquidy around the fish. It should really just adhere to it and kind of encase it and give it some love. So that's the kind of batter we're going to make today. One of the fine ingredients to use in that batter would either be a beer or a club soda. Those are carbonated beverages, and they're going to give the batter a little bit of a lift. I'm not saying the bubbles are going to stay there, but the initial CO2 in these beverages can help to give the batter a little bit of lift. So yes, using a carbonated beverage, either beer or club soda, is probably the best. Also, don't over-season your batter. There's no reason to put all kinds of garlic and paprika and herbs and everything else in there. Sometimes it's just best alone. You're going to be putting probably tartar sauce or lemon or the mushy peas, which I like. I really love the mushy peas there on the fish. I might get into that later. But you're going to be adding a lot of flavors. So kind of let the fish shine, let it speak for itself. Even a delicious piece of cod can really be spectacular. Also, the consistency of your batter should not be a heavy pancake-like batter or a waffle batter. It needs to be more like a heavy cream. That sounds like, oh, how's it going to stick on when it's in the fryer and everything else? It will. Relax. You're good. So yes, a nice light batter will also go a long way to not make a thick, doughy piece of fish. Monitoring the oil temperature. This is so important. That's why you're going to need one of these guys, or even one of the old kitchen thermometers is fine, as long as it goes to about 500. Now you're not going to put your oil at 500, but your oil should be between 350 and 375, depending on the thickness of your fish. If it's a thicker piece of fish, it's going to be around the 350. That way they cook evenly. If it's a thinner piece of fish, you don't want to overcook the fish. The batter and fish will cook together at a higher temperature. So the thicker the fish, around 345 to 360. The thinner the fish, about 360 to 375, somewhere around there. I do have my oil going, and it's probably a little too hot right now, but I am going to sit here and just to see where it's at. That way, yeah, we're pretty hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it off, and by the time we come back to cooking, it should have come down a bit. So I'm just move that over. Okay, so the next tip is not to fry a refrigerated fish. Don't take your fish out of the refrigerator, slop it into the batter, and then put it in the fryer, because you're working with a cold piece of fish. You want the batter and the fish to be about the same temperature, like room temperature. That way they cook evenly. That is, if you haven't noticed, that's kind of a theme through all of this, is to cook the batter and the fish evenly. That's really important, because ultimately that's going to give you a fish that is light, airy, crispy, and the batter sticks to it. The worst type of battering is the one that's heavy, oily, greasy, and you put it on on a plate or a piece of towel paper, and the thing just kind of starts to soak up. That is what you want. You almost don't want to taste the oil at all. It should be part of the cooking process, not part of the recipe. Also, to make sure to dry the fish. We're going to cover this when you actually see me do it. Make sure to dry the fish a little bit with a paper towel, and then to salt the fish a little, about maybe 15, 20 minutes prior. So that will help to bring out some of the other liquids in the fish, and that way you know that the batter is really going to adhere. So a couple themes in there. The oil temperature, really important. The thickness of the batter, really important, and the salting and drying of the fish, really important. There's your tips. Now you're going to watch me do it. So we're going to come down here to our fish. This is our beautiful piece of cod, and I have not salted these yet, so I'm going to go ahead and just salt them on both sides very lightly. There's going to be salt in the batter. You can even pat that in a bit. Now I'm going to pretend that this has been sitting here for a while. It's going to work for us either way, but the truth is you should let it sit there for a good, again, about 15 minutes or so. Next, you want to take your towel. Once you've waited that salting period, you're just going to pat it dry. On both sides, pat it nice and dry. Beautiful. Nice and dry. Okay, we're going to move this over. We're going to make our batter. This is very simple. You will not need many ingredients at all for this. You're going to need about 1 cup all-purpose flour, and this is to batter about, this will probably do 5 or 6 fillets, so this will be more than I need. But I'm going to use a sifter. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to just sift the flour down. I like the sifted flour in this because, again, we're looking for lightness. Really important. Also, about a tablespoon of baking powder. And I'm going to put that through the sifter too, because baking powder can get clumpy. So you want to make sure that your batter is nice and light. Light, light, light. That's the key here. Next, we're going to take a small whisk. Take about a half a cup of milk and about a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Just give that a quick stir in. And then when you get these clumps, you're going to take your beer. You're going to start dumping in about a half a cup. Right there. We're going to go ahead. Now you can see this is pretty thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the beer. And the beer is not a heavy or it's not a heavy or dark beer. It's got a little bit of a color to it, of a kind of caramel color to it, but it doesn't have but it has like a yeasty flavor to it, a little bit of a sweetness to it. Now you see I've got this, and you see it's not sticking at all. Now a pancake batter would be much thicker than this. This is almost like a crepe batter in a way. And as you let this sit, this will thicken up just really slightly. So if you think you've made it too thin, and a nice way to try this is to dip your finger in it, and just to make sure it sticks to your finger like that. If it's not completely falling off your finger, if you can see it's really coated my finger well, then you've got it. You've got it made. So we're going to put that aside for a moment. We're going to bring our star of the show in. I'm going to bring my oil back, and I'm going to move the monitor so you can see it over here. Now, I'm going to test this, see where we're at. We are at 3. We're still a little warm, so that's okay. We're going to go ahead and just let this cool down a little bit. In fact, I'm just going to turn off the heat because we don't even need it. There's so much heat in that pot. So, we're going to take our fish, our first piece of fish. I'm going to do 2 for you. We're merely going to drop this in, nice and dry. It's going to stick. And I'm going to let the batter drip off a little bit. Drip off the, just let that batter fall off. And then in we go. So I've got a nice sizzle in that pot. That's good. Got about 2.5 inches of oil. That should be fine. We don't want to touch this at this point because the batter is still adhering, but you can gently just move it just to make sure that it's not not sticking to the bottom of the pot. I will turn that flame on just lower, very kind of low. So you don't want a big flowering, bubbling pot. You want a gentle simmer because this is going to be in here for, I don't know, about maybe 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. And it's, don't turn it over yet. Once you kind of see it floating around, then you can gently, again, move it around just so that it's not sticking, but don't play with it too much. You notice too, I haven't put my second piece of fish in there simply because I want you to see it. That's why I'm moving it. Because I don't want to overcrowd the pot either. That's one of the things you can do, and then those fillets stick together, and it's not great. You can also continually check your oil temperature, so that's perfectly fine. You can do that in between. We are still at around 375, so there we go. That's about right. When there is so much I want to say competition in the UK for the best, fried fish or the best fish and chips, and for good reason. They there are so many there that the truth is you can really kind of have fun. You can kind of like shop around, I should say, and find the best one. I think I found some really good ones, but of course, if you ask an opinion of anybody there, they're going to have their own opinion as to what's the best and what's the worst and what's the this and that. But my advice is shop around, maybe get on the internet, find out what other people are saying about it. Okay, I'm hearing that fish rise in sound, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to very gently flip it around. So it's getting nice and brown and crusty. And your first piece may not always work out to be the best because your oil has to kind of temper a little bit. But certainly you want to try to get either a spider or something like a net or a spider to try and draw it out. Don't use the tongs too much. Use the tongs to move it and kind of turn it a bit, but don't use that to finally pull it out of the pot because you might break it. But this thing works pretty well. The fish will stay on the edges of the spider. I think we are done. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And look at that. I hope you can see that. You can see that. Look how beautifully brown and crisp that is. I can feel that shell has just encased itself beautifully and perfectly. I'm going to put this on our plate, and I'm going to fry you one more piece here, just so you can see the process again. Okay. In goes the fish. Let her drip. And slide it in beautifully. I'm not the greatest slider there. And that fish came right up. So I don't even need to play with it at this point or make sure it's not sticking. But the one thing you do want to make sure is your batter is not falling off. You're going to get little pieces like that. You're going to get small little pieces. But what you want to do is make sure your batter isn't falling off in big clumps. That's always good. And I turned off my fire because the oil is pretty hot right now, and I don't want to. I want to make sure that I'm evening the temperature between the fish. Okay. Fried fish. It's so easy and it's so good. It really is. When you put it all together, it's so simple and it's so good. Of course, fish and chips are the normal, but today I've done a little slaw for you. Little slaw, a couple slices of lemon, and I think you're going to really love it. I'm going to flip this guy. There we go. So now that the oil has been doing its thing for a minute or two, you really see that the oil in a way kind of understands what it's doing, and then it starts to fry the fish really perfectly. And what a simple recipe! And again, if you don't have to use beer, you can use club soda, but beer does give it that little extra. So this needs to be finished with nothing, no parsley, no nothing, just maybe a small little sprinkling of salt. And you want to do that when it comes out of the fryer, as almost anything that comes out of the fryer. So I'm going to salt my one piece here. And then this piece is almost done, I would say. Yep, I would say it is. I'd say it's done. You do want to internally check the fish. It's about 174, 170 when you bring it out of the fryer. But sometimes you just kind of instinctively know that it's done because it has that beautiful crispy coating. Let it. Do not put this on paper towels. Look at that. Don't put this on paper towels because it'll fall off. Put this on a cooling rack and then put that in your oven as you fry more pieces. So, but we are done actually. We're not going to fry any more pieces. A little bit of salt. And look at that beautiful little fish and chips. And I made a slaw today for us. Um, Beautiful, crispy. Oh, so nice. And where's my fork? I gotta eat. I gotta eat. Have some of this for you. All right, I gotta have some of this. Here we go. Little piece. No lemon at first. I'm just gonna taste it as is. Mm, crispy, just the way I said. It tastes more like a shell. I'm not tasting any grease. I'm not tasting any soppiness, any wetness. Um, and it's beautiful. A little bit of lemon now. And the piece. Mm, this is a treat, and it's still very hot, but it's a great treat and a fun thing to do and easy. Here we're paying all these restaurants to do it. You can do it at home. Do it yourself. It's so easy. Uh, Thanks for spending some time with me. Fry some fish. You'll love it. And remember, all the tips, you can go back through the video and get all the tips. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next video. Ciao.